Transition. Yes, transition. Hi everyone, this is Amanda. Welcome to LA Views podcast. We have a special guest today, and that is my dad.
Oh,
Um,
it started? Oh,
yes,
let
it
me wake up.
started. You can wake up now.
Hello, everyone.
So Leslie is not here today, but she will be here in the future. So yeah, today is my dad. I don't know if he wants to go by his real name or if he'd like to go by something else. So I will let him introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Shanghai. We'll go by that name. Shanghai Smith.
Um, so we have one comment that's very excited to see you, and it says "The Cat" by Marweebio.
Hello, Marweebio. How you doing?
So today we will be talking about social standards, and we have a bunch of questions all over in the mix for both of us, and we can kind of just go from there. If you have any comments for my dad, you can put it in the comments below, and we will read them shortly. So let's see. So for social standards, we have you ever been judged by the opposite sex or
Of
shamed?
course.
So please tell me your story.
Women are. No, I'm not
Wow.
going to say that. It always happens. Anytime somebody turns you down, you feel like you've been judged. I mean, those days are kind of behind me now
Oh
since I
yeah.
married your mom. But it happens. You're out there in the world trying to meet people, and you're hoping you look attractive to them, and that they're going to think that you're all that.
All that.
Yeah, or whatever. I'm trying. And it doesn't always work.
That's true.
So yeah,
I
so
mean,
yeah.
have you ever been judged by the opposite sex? I yes, but I can't really think of it right now. I think the judgment of is like, oh, I'm a female and I shouldn't have colored hair. That my hair should be natural at all times. That's one. That's that. I mean, there's more than one, but that's one of the times that I've encountered someone like that. Or nails. My nails should be a neutral color or should be red, which I thought was very strange because that's not really a thing anymore, or I believe it isn't.
Well,
I guess
I
it's to
guess not.
keep the
Yeah,
natural look. Um,
that's a preference though. Some people like the natural look. Some people don't care about the natural look.
True. The other question is, have you ever been judged for your body type?
I don't ever recall anybody specifically saying my body type or saying, well, I just don't like the way you're built type thing. I don't know if that's, I mean, maybe somebody thought that and didn't say it, but I don't remember that. I think more commonly I was judged for being kind of, when I was younger, for being awkward,
What do
being
you mean by
socially
awkward?
awkward, being socially awkward.
Okay.
When I was out in the world, I was not always that outgoing in my youth.
I can relate.
I was kind of shy, and I didn't know what the right thing to say was, and I didn't know how to approach women. I didn't really know how to approach. I couldn't really read, and this may be true of a lot of guys. I think I couldn't always read when, since we're talking about the opposite sex, when
Mm-hmm.
a girl liked me. I couldn't get it. Other people would tell me, "Oh yeah, she really liked you," and I'm like, "She didn't show anything. I didn't see anything special." So yeah, I mean, I know I got judged for things like that, and I can remember a particular situation where this kind of attractive girl came up to me and started talking to me, and I was completely tongue tied. I had absolutely no idea how to respond to her. And so all I did was kind of like smile, and I remember her saying, "Okay, that's it," and turn around and walk away. And I felt like I was about 2 inches tall at that, but it was because I was socially awkward. I had no idea how to respond to a girl actually coming up to me.
See, and
Yeah.
how I feel about that is that usually when I am attracted to someone, I like the person to be honest. And if you're socially awkward, that's totally fine. it's not easy all the time, but at least give the person the chance. But I realize that harder for it's hard for some people to realize that, and it's hard for some people to know how to pretty much show what
Mm.
they're feeling, their emotions. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But for being judged for body type, I have been judged for body type several times. Especially since I'm considered skinny, but I'm also thick, but it's too fat for some people. I've gotten that where it's like, well, yeah, you have hips, great, you know, you have a little something up there, but your waist is good, but you need to be skinnier or you need to gain more weight because you look unhealthy. I've gotten that a lot.
Okay, I can see that. I think that's maybe harder with women,
Yeah,
but as far as men, I mean, I'm considered tall
you are
because
tall.
I'm
Well, to me,
I
you're
don't think of
tall.
myself as tall. I think of myself as average, but I'm 6. I'm slightly over 6 feet, and so I've always been considered tall. So I've never experienced um, but what men who are under, say, 5'10" or 5'9" might say about being judged for being too short.
Well, okay.
Okay.
So for most of you that don't know, I am 5'3". Um, and yes, I'm tiny. See, he's already making fun of me. But for women, it's considered to be okay to be short. It's okay for women to be short because they usually say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go for a taller person." But if it's someone under, it's like it's almost would it be a taboo?
Well, I would think that tall women, because there are tall women, and
Mm-hmm.
that they're judged because, although I don't know if it's as common now, things have changed a lot now. But taller women, a lot of men would feel insecure being with a woman who was taller than them.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And
I've
there's
heard
some
some
men,
guys.
for some men, I think it's a conquest thing. It's like you're short, but I can get a tall girl. That kind of thing too. So
So Marwavio put yes, and it's getting worse.
now what he said is, you didn't. The first
Well,
comment is
it says
thoughts on common sense, and he said it's getting worse now. I don't know if he's talking about common sense.
well, he wrote it's getting worse now when you were talking about how to approach a woman,
Yeah,
especially when you're socially
it might be,
awkward.
yes, because things are different. The world is a little different. But I think that the world being different is both a good and a bad thing at the same time. Whereas I can see if you're socially awkward, you're still going to have the same problems approaching women. Um, but at the same time, I think women are a little more
Open.
open. Yeah, open now than they used to be. And that a lot of um, situations, or a lot of, well, situations that wouldn't have been accepted because they would have been looked down on socially back in my day, are not taken into account now, or are not as strictly followed.
And what were those things? Those specific things that were not taken lightly.
Well, what I mean is, like, you know, I can remember that my very first crush was on a girl. The first time I ever saw her, she was 16 and I was 13, I think, at the time. And that was the first time I ever saw her, and I was just like smitten. I got to meet her several years later, but there was this 2.5 year difference between us, which was just circumstantial. We got along really, really well. And I found out much later that she had told people that she would have actually dated me and gotten together with me if it weren't for the fact that I was 2 years younger. And at that time, I think that was a big deal. You know, I don't think it's as big a deal now because I know you've dated somebody that was younger than you.
So when I
You
was in
know.
high school, I was a senior at the time. Um, I wasn't 18 yet, but my birthday is in October, so school year usually starts around September. Um, but he was a sophomore, so realistically, we were like 3 years apart, I think. So if we were outside of high school, most people don't really think about that.
Yeah.
at all. They don't like, oh, you're 3 years
after
apart,
you
you're 2 years apart, whatever. But when
after
you're
you
in high
pass
school,
after you pass your 20s and you're starting to get more into a more adult age, that's not looked on quite the same.
yeah.
But the idea, you know, the idea that you would have done that when I saw you doing that, I remember thinking to myself, "Shit, that wouldn't have happened when I was in high school."
Yeah.
Because um, a girl who was a couple of years older than you would be, I think, afraid to tell her friends, "Yeah, I'm dating a guy who's still back in high school and he's got a couple of years to go yet." It just in that era it wouldn't have happened.
See, and that doesn't phase me at all. I don't see that as an issue, but I do remember a lot of people still being very like, oh, I want the guy to be older. And even to this day, a lot of girls are attracted to guys that are older than them, which is fine. I don't see an issue with it. But it never bothered me. But I also have done the vice versa. Before that, I was a freshman and I was dating a senior. So age to me doesn't really matter. As long as you're happy, that's what matters to me. But I get that that is a social standard that you're not supposed to, if you're a girl, you can't date a guy younger than you, and if you're a guy, you know, I think this is really weird that it's okay to date a girl younger than older.
Well, there's a lot of reasons behind that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons that's it's a social thing, and it has to do with social taboos are built on the ability to reproduce. That's what it comes down to. That's what all social taboos are built around, is the ability of a union to be able to reproduce the species. And older women with younger men, now we're talking about fairly big big life differences or age differences here, are not capable of reproducing because there's a point at which women don't reproduce any longer. Whereas men are potentially capable of reproducing right up into their 90s, right up to the day they die.
Yeah.
So traditionally, it's not seen as a big deal that an older man would take a younger wife because he's capable of having children with her. And that's the very base reason for a lot of the taboos around relationships, around unions, marriages, whatever. And it's the reason that older women with younger men are looked down on, while older men who are with younger women are seen as being, for lack of a better term, macho.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember going out maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago with a bunch of friends from my work, and all of them were younger than me, but they invited me along. So I went. We went to some club. They were dancing, and the girls in the group got me to come out onto the floor and dance with them. So here I am in the floor, the old fart. I don't know if I was supposed to say that word, but
You're okay.
the old fart dancing with a bunch of these young girls, and I'm dancing with like 3 of them at once. And some young guy comes up to me and he leans in and he says, "Man, you're my hero. I want to be you when I get older." I'm like, "Okay, dude." It's like it's not. There's really they're just they're just being nice to me, but there's a certain macho sort of mentality related to that.
Well, and I see, and I don't like going to clubs. I'm very I would be a hermit, huh?
Yeah,
I like
you
I'm a,
need a cave.
yeah, I do.
If you have a cave and your cat, you're probably happy.
Yeah, I would be happy. But I've gone to the clubs like maybe 4 times in my life. I'm not a big, even in high school. I didn't do anything crazy. Um, but I went and it was with my current partner, and we went with all our friends. And I was dancing with my friend, and she noticed that there was a guy that kept lingering around me, and I stayed away. And at one point, he walked up to me and told me I had a big butt. And I was like, "Good for you, my guy. Bye." And I left. And I continued dancing with my friend. And after I told the person several times, "Leave me alone," um, I was dancing with my friend, and they decided to come up from behind me and try and grind on me. And I have anxiety. So my anxiety kicked in, and I literally dashed. My friend pulled me, and I dashed right through her legs. I went right under her legs and slid like a penguin. I was like, "I'm out of here." And obviously, the people that I'm with, some of them see me as a sister, and they got very defensive really quick. But I just said, let the bouncer know, whatever that is. I like I said, I'm not used to this type of life. And they did, and they kicked the guy out, and the guy got upset and called me, several names just because he kept bugging me and then invaded my social space. And I don't know if that leads into the macho ness.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's
I I
toxic masculinity.
okay. So I've never liked that. I've had a lot of guys that I've dated in the past that have this macho mentality and that they need to be in charge and they need to tell me what to do and how I need to look and how I need to act and where I should be and who I should be hanging out with and who I should be talking with and looking at my phone, but I couldn't look at theirs. That was very toxic, and I think it takes play into the macho ness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now I've seen people where, and I've known some people where it's like, hey, I make more money than you and I'm the female, but they would take that as a threat.
Mm.
And I didn't think that was okay at all. And I've run into guys that maybe even the guys I've dated in the past, if they're still the same, would probably have done the same thing with me. That's why I avoid
That's
the machiness as much
insecurity.
as possible.
That's all insecurity. You realize?
Yes, I know it's
All
insecurity.
insecurity. It's not macho or whatever. It's they're insecure. Simple as that. It's
And
insecurity that drives that. It's the insecurity of I'm not masculine enough, so I can't attract these women. I can't keep my woman. I can't do this. I can't do. I have to have this control so that I feel like I am the man.
when really it doesn't make you a
When
man.
really, no, it doesn't mean anything. It just means you're scared.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of the experiences I've encountered when it came to that. And once I see that now, not then, but now when I see that, I have a tendency to nip it in the butt. I attack quickly, which is probably one of my downfalls. I
Mm-hmm.
attack in the sense of like, leave me alone, or you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
And I can be very harsh on it because in the past, all I did was, okay, quiet, lock the key, throw it away, and don't say anything. Um, which it can be traumatizing. Let's see. What are the other questions that we have? Have you ever tried to impress someone by changing to their standards?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. But I'm a man, and we don't tend to do that.
Not even for one.
Well,
One?
I'm gonna, I mean, I don't have a specific remembrance of me, doing something that I really didn't want to do just to go please somebody else and to get their attention with it. I did things sometimes where you would go out of your way to try and get somebody to notice you, but I don't think I ever remember being purposely different.
Okay.
You know, uh, when you see somebody you like and you try and get their attention, and you try and act the way that you think that they would like you to act, and you can say that to some degree is changing yourself. Uh, but I don't think when you ask that question, I think of something that you're asking for something bigger than just Um, well, I said I like this movie, but I really don't like this movie because it's a chick flick. But you like
I
chick flicks, so I'm going to watch the chick flick and tell you it's a good movie, even though I was fighting falling asleep the whole time.
Yeah.
That's pandering to somebody to make them happy, but it's not really changing yourself to make them
I
happy.
think I believe I have changed for other people's standards, especially in relationships, without realizing that I'm doing it.
Mm.
Cause I've gone through, and my dad knows I'm very open with him, but I've gone through some pretty serious shit. But I have changed because of those people to meet their standards and to make them happy constantly, whether it made me happy or not. And I didn't realize it till later on in the relationships that that was happening to myself. And as much as people told me, hey, this isn't you, I would just lash back because usually when you're going through something like that, you're going to defend whatever you are standing for at the time. So yeah, I believe I've changed in attitude or in things that I never liked before, and then all of a sudden I like it now. And granted, you can like new things can change, and that's fine. But if it's something that is just totally left field, and you still hate it even though you're still doing it, that says something, or at least to me it says something. Yeah, I think that yeah, I have changed for other people's standards, and it took me a while to realize it. Boo. I said okay. Have you been have you ever been told to dress a certain way? And it doesn't have to be romantically.
By my mother all the time. What are you talking?
Have you ever
By your
been
grandmother.
have you ever been told to dress a certain way, and did you do it or did you hate it?
I hated it. I did it sometimes, and other times I fought over it, but I hated it. But this is I was small. I didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, but when
Yeah.
you were older, did she try and force
Oh
that
yeah, no,
on
she
you?
always was. She would always be like that. She was always very critical of anything that she didn't like. And she would buy me stuff and bring it to me, and it's like, oh, you're going to look so good in this. I'm like, I don't wear that stuff, Mom. I don't wear that. This is why you never see me in a sweater now.
Yeah, well, you're always
Because
hot
she was
too.
upset. Yeah, well, I'm always hot, but and that's part of the reason I didn't like wearing them. But she was obsessed with turtlenecks and cardigans. It was a very '60s look, and she loved it. She thought it just looked fantastic on men, and she thought that I should be constantly dressed in turtlenecks and cardigan sweaters, living in Southern California in the summer. And she could not get it through her head that I hated them. And she'd buy this expensive stuff, really nice stuff. She'd go and find really nice. I mean, well made from name brand makers,
Yeah.
and she just like, oh, here, look, I've got these for you, and I'm like, I'm never gonna wear them. They're gonna go in a drawer somewhere. You'll never see me in them.
I think for me, have you ever been told to dress a certain way? Yes, I have. Some of it has to do with insecurity. No, it does. It does have to do with insecurity. I remember one time I like vintage clothing. I really like vintage clothing. It's always been a thing, but I don't like too tight, but I like a bit flowy. So I like an in between. But I remember I tried this red dress. It was a really tight dress, right? It was like what was it called? It was Oma's dress. It was my grandmother's dress.
I don't know what it was made out of.
It
I know
was
what
was
type.
it
It
like
was
a
like a cocktail.
cocktail
It was a
dress?
cocktail dress,
It was a
but it was a pencil. It had like a pencil cut to it.
yeah.
It was really tight. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I thought it was gorgeous, and it had like was it lin? No, it's like a lace on the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it didn't reveal too
Wasn't it
much.
like flowers?
Yeah, it was
Or
like
leaves
flowers.
or something
It was
like
something
that.
like that. It was
cut.
something floral.
I remember it was cut in like a floral design.
Yeah.
In the
So
décolletage.
so my grandmother was very possessive. So I was finally able to try this dress on. Granted, I'm a size 6. She was a size 0, right? A 0
Yeah,
to
she
a 0
most
to
of
4.
her life she never weighed more than 99 pounds.
Yeah. So I tried this dress on. I think I was in high school, and I couldn't get it past my hips. The zipper would not go up, and she told me that I need to start going into like plus sizes because I was too fat. That made a lot of insecurities for me because the dress would not go up past that. We forced it and almost broke the zipper, and I realized it fit from the waist up, but it didn't fit from the bottom. So it caused a lot of insecurities for me, and I've had other people tell me in the past, like, "Oh, you're too like you're curvy, but you have too much like what is it? The little muffins like on the side they call it muffin top a little bit or something."
Yeah, that's one term for it.
Yeah, so like the muffin top on the sides. When I would wear tight dresses, they would tell me I would have to wear a thong or like no underwear at all because it would show the muffin top and it made me look ugly, or it would make me look weird because it wasn't smooth. So I avoided, and even to this day I kind of do it. I avoided a lot of tight dresses in general or a tight skirt because those insecurities would come in,
Well,
and I would feel
I mean, on a technical note, you could actually not avoid them, but you'd have to have somebody make them for you.
yeah.
You'd have to have them actually
Well,
made for you so that they looked right, but
yeah.
you got the look.
Also the thing is like social standards. Females always have to wear bras apparently. I don't wear bras anymore since the pandemic. I've stopped. Sorry, I know might be too much information for you, but I stopped, and actually it made me feel a lot better when I wear shirts because I wouldn't get those crinkles from the bras, like it like pinch your skin a bit. It would stop doing that, and I felt better about myself. And I'm like, I could have worn this the whole time. I just allowed all these insecurities to get to me. So, because people would judge me on it, they're like, "Oh, that's too tight on you,"
Mm-hmm.
or "You don't look good like that." So I always went to the more flowy type of clothing to avoid that. And the only thing I liked that was tight was skinny jeans. I love skinny jeans. That was the one thing I would not put away. I even to this day I will wear skinny jeans forever. Even when I'm old. I'm okay with it. I'll handle it. They can deal with it. I like skinny jeans a lot.
Look at that old lady over there. Doesn't she know how old she is?
I don't care. Um, that's another thing. Old ladies should do whatever they want. They want to dye their hair pink.
I
Go for
actually,
it.
like on Instagram, I've seen a number of uh, older women who do not dress their age, and they look fine. I don't see any problem with it. I know other people will be like, "Oh, why are they doing that kind of stuff?" I don't see anything
But that's
with it.
very common because I mean, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but I do have family members, not you, but I do have family members where I'll be sitting in a car and they're like, "Oh my God, why is she wearing that? Oh, doesn't she know how old she is? Doesn't she know she looks like this? Don't they get like, oh my gosh, their kids
Well,
are
it
probably a
depends on how old
disgrace."
you feel. It depends on how old you feel internally.
But and I get that, but
Mm.
I'm like they look fine to me. Oh no, they look like an elephant. I'm like, wow, that's harsh. Like, why
Mm.
would you? Why does it matter?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I do see people sometimes, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't do that one, pal. That's maybe one you should have passed on. But in general, I don't really care. I look at people and I say, you look fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You
That's
know.
that's why I think it's a good thing, because as much as um my grandmother was from my dad, his mom was crazy, too crazy. She had a sense of style. She really was out there,
Yeah, she did.
and she did not care. She wore heels till she was like 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
She wore these hot pink heels. They weren't big. I don't think they were big. They were
No,
like
no,
that. No,
no,
were they
no,
bigger?
no. They were 5-inch heels.
Okay, so she
She
wore
were.
5-inch heels. I remember her wearing heels, hot pink, and leopard clothing and zebra. It was in your face, gawky jewelry with her
Yeah, but it was good stuff.
curls.
The jewelry was good stuff. Yeah,
The
she
jewelry was
didn't.
good stuff, but I'm saying like she was so out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like comparing to my abuelos, which are very my like they're they're simple. They're calm, simple, plain clothing, very relaxed. I mean, it looked nice, but it wasn't over the top compared to her where I mean, she did it till she was 90, so I give her kudos for that. She looked good. She looked good. But it was just like I that was probably one of the things I actually admired about her. I actually liked the fact that she didn't care what other people thought on how she dressed. She would just do it. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that even though she would judge people on how they would dress, it's a
That was
hypocritical thing. It goes
that
back
also
and
on
forth.
her part. The judging other people has to do with the era that she grew up in, and the reason that she dressed the way she did also has to do with the era that she grew up in, and what she grew up without.
Yeah,
So all of those things affect people.
and I think the only other thing besides like the insecurity parts that I've gotten, the only thing that I hated every time she made me wear, I hated it. She would make me wear sweatpants and like the long sleeve. It's the set. It's the
Mm-hmm.
what is it called? Sweatsuit, right?
Yeah, like a switch,
Uh,
like a jumpsuit.
a jumpsuit. There you go. She would make me wear a jumpsuit in hot pink. I still have photos of it. I hated it. I was miserable in those photos. I do not like pink. Pink was not my favorite color. Blue was my favorite color. So she always made me wear this hot pink jumpsuit. and I hated it. And I just wanted to get out of it. And whenever I went over, she would paint my nails pink. And I was like, okay, this is too much pink for me.
You hate pink, and you ended up with a guy who loves pink.
I know. I ended up with a guy that's in love with pink. As long as he doesn't make me wear it, we're okay.
The universe is a funny place.
As long as he doesn't make me wear it, we're fine. We're fine. As long as I'm not the one wearing pink, I don't care. But I remember that. Oh, and the Dutch clothing.
The little Dutch costume, that actually was a real thing. That was not a. It was a costume, but it was actually from Holland. It was actually from the Netherlands, and it was actually something that she had worn when she was a little girl, that her mom had gotten for her from the Netherlands, and it had her wear when she was a little girl. So that was more of a costumey type thing.
Was it a costume, or was it real clothing?
You fit into it. You were very small. It was real clothing, but
you made me wear the clogs.
But the purpose of wearing it was sort of a costumey thing, because she wanted to see you dressed up like a little Dutch girl.
Yeah, you guys took a bunch of photos of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marwebio says, soon you will. No, I will not. I will not be wearing pink. I'm sorry. Maybe like, okay, yeah, there's a little pink on here right now, but that's about it. I'm not gonna go, oh, let me go full out pink everything, pink dress, pink shirt, pink this, pink. No, that's too much.
Can we back up on one of Marwebio's first comments, because he touched something that I have his first comment there.
It just says it's getting worse now.
No, that's not his first comment.
The cap? Or
no,
thoughts on common sense?
Thoughts on common sense.
Well, if you want to touch it before we continue on to other questions, go for it.
Okay, because you touched on something that I have a very large opinion on there, Marwebio, and that is that there is no common sense. Common sense does not exist. Common sense has never existed, because if you go back and you look at all these writers who are writing about common sense, they're all writing about the lack of common sense among people. Common sense doesn't exist. If sense was common, the world would have been, our history would be a lot different, a great deal more different from what it is. So there is no common sense. There can't be less of it now, because it never really existed. I'm not a sensible person. I have no common sense. None at all. All right? I don't think in those terms. There's no common sense. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to answer his question.
Marwebio said Cap loves me.
Yes.
And he put, I'll see you at D&D.
Yes, you will. Oh, you're going to be in D&D?
Yes. So let's go on into a new question. What is more restrictive for you as a man back then and now? Like what was, I don't know.
Well, the first thing that everybody will talk about is emotions, is the display of emotion. Because back then you were all supposed to be John Wayne, and John Wayne don't cry. John Wayne don't show fear. John Wayne don't do that. That's what we were supposed to act like men, which was raises the question of what exactly does a man act like. And I think it's a little different now. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that it's a little easier maybe now for men to kind of like express themselves and kind of like decide for themselves what it means to be a man.
Well, I think that's very true, because if you look at Exhibit A, my boyfriend, he loves pink. And he wears pink. And I'm pretty sure back then, pink was like, why is a guy wearing pink, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people that would have made fun of you. At least when I was younger. They would have really been kind of like, well, what are you doing? I mean, that did change earlier, because I did have pink shirts for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 80s. It sort of like became accepted. Not as much pink as is worn now, but to be able to wear pink as something, as a part of clothing.
Even cheetah. Like I've seen guys wear cheetah print.
That's a little weird.
Maybe for you, not for me.
No, back in my time, that made you a pimp. I mean, if he's wearing cheetah, and he's a pimp.
Uh, Fosho Gang said pink is the best color ever. And Marwebio said pimp my ride.
Am I right?
So, I don't think it's an issue. I mean, yeah, no, I don't. I know that even to this day, there's still sometimes that people look at men and like, oh, why are you wearing this and why are you wearing that? But it's not looked down upon as it used to be.
The
And
world turns.
yeah, the world changes, life
Hmm.
moves on, things are gonna
I
change
mean, human
slowly.
society doesn't change that fast. It's
No.
changing faster. It's changing at a faster rate right now. I think because of external forces, because of the rise in technology, because of the pandemic. Uh, I think those are external forces that are changing the society a little faster than it might have changed um,
Well,
under its own power. But it does change. It just doesn't change that fast.
and social standards, they're always gonna affect someone in some form of way. But I feel like it's good that it is changing because it's more accepting of like girls being with girls, guys being with guys, men and women, it all around, everything in general. It's good that it's evolving.
Yeah.
Or that's
Hopefully things become more equal.
yes, because I realize
It's
it's
just
still hard for people in some families because the older generation does tend
you're
to.
still in an era. We're still in an era where everybody is uncertain exactly how they're supposed to act and how they're not supposed to act.
Mhm.
Um, it's not always well defined.
True.
So you can find yourself in thinking you're doing the right thing, and then somebody you know somebody criticizes you for it, and you weren't trying to do anything bad.
Mhm. Um. So we have a person that to. Sorry, I can't read your
Says
username. It's kind of hard for me. But they said, "What about physical beauty standards? Not all men can look like Captain America."
well, I don't. That's for sure. I look like the Wolverine. No, no, I don't. I don't look like him either. Uh, yeah, no, not all men can look like the Wolverine or the Captain America. Um, you know, I think personally, I think that your physical looks aren't necessarily all that you need to rely on. I think that you can be confident in yourself the way you are. And if we're talking about attraction, I think confidence is probably your best weapon, regardless of what you look like. In wanting to be attracted to whoever it is you want to have attracted to you, um, approaching it with that sort of sense of confidence that I'm good enough, and I know I'm good enough. And if you don't think I'm good enough, well, then that's fine.
And you also have to
Cool, you
understand.
lost. That kind of mentality uh, will help through that sort of like feeling like you don't measure up to some standard, some societal standard that you're expected to be.
Um, so what you also have to understand, in my opinion, from a girl's view, is that I understand that not all women view it that way. Some do. Some women are attracted to just how they look and how they should perceive them to look, which is the fantasy in their head. And if they can't get over that, then they're not worth it for you. And like we said before, people are changing on both spectrums. And in my opinion, I think that it's okay to have someone look completely. No, you don't have to be Superman, but you. I trying to think. You
Well,
can look like Jon Snow. No, no,
yeah.
not even Jon Snow.
For,
No, no.
Fojo, I already look like Red Guardian. I got that one. I can do that one. We
I just
talked about that. I
I
got to
feel
do that
like
as a cosplay Red
a
Guardian.
lot of a lot of the people I've dated have never gone for their looks, which my dad can vouch for me because he's told me several times. Um, I like the personality, and if you show confidence, that that just makes it even better because you don't really look at like, oh, well, their teeth are like this or like it doesn't matter. It's what's inside, not on the outside. Because you can be a pretty little thing, a fine little thing walking down the street, or this hot guy, like it don't matter. But then you're ugly on the inside, and that's where you don't want. You don't want that. You take that banana and you throw them away. Okay.
Banana.
Yes, banana. Like they're good on the outside but ugly on the inside because they're rotten.
Usually they got spots on them.
That's true. They start
You
spotting.
can tell from the outside.
I don't know. I've always heard that phrase. That's why I used it.
Okay.
Let's see. Faux show games. Captain America looks bad. I want to be like Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Okay. Marweebio put hell yeah.
Fat Thor.
Oh yeah, let's be Fat Thor. That's a
Let's be
perfect
Fat Thor.
example.
I can do Fat Thor.
Example.
I'm more Odin's age, but I can do Fat Thor.
I'm okay with Thor when he was big and buff. Like I was
Dude,
fine with him both ways.
I hear women saying they like dad bods all the time. Dad bods aren't perfect.
Yeah, they're not.
That ain't no Captain America look.
And there are a lot of women that are into dad bods.
Yes, I never met one, but they you know, there a lot
Actually,
of
you
them.
have, but I
Who?
won't name them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Those are lies. I don't know about that.
Marweebio, you have a dad bod, Marweebio. You're not even a dad yet, and you have a dad bod.
Okay, calm down. Calm down. All right. When do you think it started to change? Like, what year did you think the social standards started changing for men and women?
Things started changing as early as the 1960s.
Okay.
You know, that was a beginning time for social standards to start changing. And it just increased over time. But as early as the, say, mid 60s, late 60s, into the 70s, you know, with the counterculture and all that kind of stuff that was going on at that time, that's when they really started to change.
Okay. Well, I already asked this. It says what was looked down on for men, but we already kind of answered that. How were men supposed to act then and now? For women, you know, I can't answer for your time because I wasn't there. I don't know what it was like for women, or if you could justify. I could talk about now, but not then.
Well, you were supposed to be feminine.
No, I'm not.
Stop. No, you're asking me about how women are supposed to act.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You were supposed to be very, very feminine, and whatever that meant. You know, you were supposed to be sweet and kind and quiet and you know, all of those things that were imagined as being feminine qualities.
So you couldn't be outspoken.
That would probably not be seen as very, you know, as very acceptable.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't. It would probably get a lot of men upset.
If you were,
you know, if you were outspoken, and of course, like I said, in the counterculture era of the '60s and the '70s, that started changing, and it really did upset a lot of people. And frankly, you're still fighting it today. It still happens today. A woman who says her mind is like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah, which is very true. Where I work, we're a team of women. But the previous places I've worked at, when I'm very outspoken, and that's why I asked about that, because I've spoken my mind several times, and I can tell that they are not fond of it. I've been told to be quiet, or to just leave, or stay in the background and be
just
silent.
Sit there and look pretty.
Yeah, sit there and look pretty.
Yeah.
Which comes into a lot of taboos, I guess, like hair. And I'm saying hair as in for women and men, not just women. Because I know with women, it's, we're supposed to be, like, flawless. We're not supposed to have any form of body hair. And that's why
That's actually relatively new.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's a relatively new concept in the society.
But I mean, under your
It wasn't true when I was young.
So,
It was only just beginning to become a thing when I
but
was
what about
younger.
legs for women?
Oh no, yeah, hair on the legs would yeah that
Legs and your
yeah
armpit.
at least in yes at least here in America. I don't know in other parts of the world, but in the United States, yeah, hairy legs, the armpits, that thing that but that actually is not that new.
That's what I'm saying, isn't
That
it?
part is not that new. That was around for a while. Maybe not as maybe not as overall pervasive for all women in earlier times, but it wasn't that new. Uh, I don't it. I don't know the exact era where it started to become a thing of women started shaving. All women started shaving their legs and their armpits and stuff. But
So they put that Marilyn Monroe started that. This is from the comments. Marilyn Monroe apparently
no,
started that.
what
On
the hair?
magazine spreads, people didn't want to see body hair.
Yes, I'm sure that that's true, but I think it's probably earlier than Marilyn Monroe. When we talk about body hair, are you talking about just armpits, legs, or are you talking about something else beyond that?
Well, because
You know,
even I mean now, I don't know about then, but now I have you mean you can't see it from there, but I have hair on my arms.
yeah, but women
Um
didn't shave their arms.
yes,
That was
but
not a
that's
thing unless
it's a thing.
yeah, it may be a thing, but it was not.
So,
It was
I
mostly legs and armpit
in
type thing.
high school I knew a lot of girls who did shave their arms, and actually I was one of them. I used to shave my arms and it actually made the hair worse. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. Another thing was women would shave their tummy around their belly button. They would shave it if they have
Yeah,
like
that's
little.
something I never heard of.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
That's new.
That's new.
That's a
Well, I
new
mean,
thing.
it's not so new because it
But
was
then,
more like I heard this around like middle school.
then you also like I told you the other day, and you didn't realize it. You said you didn't realize it, and I told you that I know men who, because they're into weightlifting and the bodybuilding thing and all that stuff, that actually shave their entire body. They
Hmm.
shave their hair, and I actually spoke to some women one time who were talking about, telling me, oh yeah, that's so much more attractive when a man shaves all his hair off. That they don't want to see a guy hairy,
Hmm.
which is a change because in my youth, uh, men were kind of like supposed to be kind of hairy. It was
Yeah.
like a hairy chest was a thing, and I don't think that's true anymore. I think that actually has changed. That women don't have a thing about a man having a hairy chest. In fact, I hear a lot of women make comments about not liking that kind of stuff, or making fun of guys who look like they might be a little bit hairy.
I mean, I've all the guys I've seen their chest. I've never really seen. I've maybe one person has had a really hairy chest that I've dated, but the rest were they're plain,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if they
No,
shave it, but that like
well,
there
I
was
mean, not
nothing.
everybody has a hairy chest, but
Yeah.
it's or a visibly hairy chest.
Mhm.
But I know that a lot of guys that I've spoken to started because they're into lifting and all that kind of stuff, started shaving,
Okay.
and because they didn't want that look.
See, and for women, I know it's like you have to be pretty much a naked mole rat. Like you're just hairless, nothing.
Well,
Because
I don't know about
it's
the arms and the stomach thing. I
well,
never heard anything
it's
about that before. I know the underarms, I know the legs, and then what became a fashion in my youth started to become a fashion was the bikini waxes
yeah,
and all
the
that stuff.
Brazilian, the
Yeah, and the
bikini
Brazilian,
waxes, yeah.
not having no hair down there at all.
Um,
My total body. I know that my mom, even though you never could have seen it on her, she used to use that stuff. They called it Nair. It was like a little cream. It was called.
it's to
It's
get
a
rid of their
depilatory. Yeah,
mustache.
yeah. It's a depilatory. And my
Yeah,
mom, who is like super blonde,
you can't even
you
see
could
it.
barely see her eyebrows. She had to paint them in for you to know that they were there. They were there, but she was so blonde you couldn't see them. She would be using that stuff on her lip all the time, and I was like, "You don't have a mustache. Why
That
are you
is
doing that shit?"
that is
You know.
still a beauty standard to this day because my mom does that, but she has
Mm.
brown hair like me. It's very dark, so to her
It shows. It can
it
show
shows a little
Yeah.
more.
So she's
But
self-conscious about
yeah,
it.
she's self and I see her all the time. She puts I don't know what it's called, but she puts you can tell it's like some cream wax thing, and she does it.
Yeah.
And I have joined the waxing world. That sounds weird. I've joined the. I waxed my eyebrows. I did try. And yes, I'm comfortable with saying this in front of my father. I did try the bikini recently, and holy crap, I almost punched the lady. I don't know how you guys do it. I almost punched her. I literally almost punched her. And she's like, "Tell me if you're gonna punch me." I'm like, "I'm not trying to. I asked you to do this. I'm not gonna punch you. I promise." Um, but I tried it for health reasons, but I was just kind of like, okay. And I thought about it. I'm like, why don't men do this? And I said it out loud because I was in pain. And she said that it's actually harder for men and that you guys are more sensitive to it. I can be totally wrong. Maybe I'm full of
I don't know.
shit.
I
Maybe
would
you
just
guys can handle it better than we do. I don't
if I
know.
was going to do that, I'd just shave and leave it at that.
Well, the reason
But I guess
most
some guys
the
might
reason
want to go
most girls
farther.
don't shave is because it like causes bumps and like
Yeah,
ingrown
no, I
hairs. So
understand.
it's actually more helpful in that sense. It's actually better for you because you're not causing an infection pretty much. Um, but I don't know. Like I've joined the waxing world and I've seen a lot. Like I took mom one time with me. She did her eyebrows. She did the mustache. She even did like around her neck. And I'm like, why are you doing around your neck? She goes, I have little baby hairs. I'm like, you don't have anything
Yeah,
there.
I don't.
What? Are you growing a beard and
It's
I don't
funny
know
when you
about
see
it?
somebody getting rid of something that nobody can even see. You
Yeah.
know, other than themselves.
Because like I have little hairs here too. I have them too. And every time my mom sees me, she's like, let me pluck them all out. And I'm like, there. Did you see them from afar? No. Well, then why does it matter? But I also like the fact that females are okay with showing body hair now. Personally, for me, I like shaving. I'm okay with it, but I totally fine with women that don't want to and are fine with having body hair on their arms or their armpit or their legs or etc. wherever it may be. Um, I think it's very empowering and it's taboo at the moment because people still kind of look down upon it, or I think they do.
Mhm.
I know for you it might be completely different scenario. You might think differently on it, but that's what I think. You're like, no, this is not happening. The other thing that I think is taboo is tattoos. I mean, not really now. Now it's become more open. Back then it was a really bad thing.
Like I said, it was low class.
Yeah.
It was a low
So
class thing. Sailors and and something that sailors and Marines did or something like that. You know, people maybe if you'd been in the military, uh, but it was considered very low class.
well, I remember when I got my first tattoo. Um, I hid it for not to my parents. My parents knew about it, but I hid it for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Right, a year. I hid it for a year, and then my sister got one, and I was like, "Well, I ain't hiding it no more." So I was like, "Hey, I'm getting a tattoo with her." I did it to my grandparents because I remember my abuelo, grandfather, um, told me that women that have tattoos were pretty much a prostitute or stuff like that. That they were a low class, that they weren't worthy of anything, that no man would want them. And I didn't want to disappoint him even though I wanted one. And I hid it for a year and then I realized, well, you know what? If I'm tired of hiding it, if they can show it, then I can too. And I have to not allow him to get in my head. Um, and then from there, I have like five now, I think. One, two, three, four.
Okay.
Going on five. I'm gonna get a fifth one. But I I know that it's looked down upon unless you're a marine or you were in the navy or
Mm-hmm.
you were in jail, right? If you were in jail, you got it was
Yeah, you got a
okay
prison tat.
apparently. Yeah, prison tat.
That
But
still happens actually.
in other cultures, which I'll let you take over that because you know more of the history of this stuff than I do. In other cultures, it's acceptable and it means
Well,
a
because
sign of.
it's usually a tribal identification. You know, tattoos are specific to peoples, specific to tribes, to certain groups, and the tattoo identifies you as part of that group. So it's one of the things I used to say. I was like, I don't understand getting tattoos. I have them now, but you know, I didn't fully understand the concept of getting tattoos because I was like, you don't belong to a tribe. You don't have a tribal reason to do it. or maybe a religious reason, because some people had tattoos that represented their religions and their ideologies and stuff. So I was like, I don't, just getting tattoos for the sake of a tattoo. And everybody says, oh, well, because they mean something personally to me. I'm like, okay, but you know, it really also, I know that to some degree, a lot of people were getting them because it was sort of like,
Different.
I want to be different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to show my independence. But of course, now everybody's got them. So I don't know if it makes you so independent to have one now.
I think
Uh, it's a societal thing. It's a social thing. That the pendulum swings. At one time it was unacceptable. Now it's acceptable, and it's probably going to remain a common thing for a long time. And then maybe it'll fall out of grace again, and people will stop doing it. Who knows?
Well, I think for me, honestly, which is true, a lot of people have them. But I think for me, it's just more, does it make me happy? Yes, it is. Do I need to do it for independence? No. Do I need to do it to make someone else happy? No. It's something that I decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
All of mine have meaning, and anyone can tell you that, which is true. But I
Well,
mean, like,
anybody that knows you can tell you that.
yeah. But I mean, in my mind, is if it makes you happy and comfortable with who you are, then that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it can go with anything. It doesn't even just have to be tattoos. It could be piercings. It could even be, you want to alter your body in some certain way through surgery. That's fine too. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy. That's all that matters. But I'm very big on do you
As long
and
as it's
follow
not an
who you
obsession.
want.
If it's an obsession, that is not making you happy.
Okay.
If it's obsessive, it's not making you happy. You're trying to become happy by doing it. It's not making you happy. That's if it becomes an obsession.
Okay.
Those are the folks who are, worrying about their body so much, and they're doing all sorts of modifications and changes and putting on more and more and more and looking for new places to put stuff. That borders on being an obsession, and you really have to then ask yourself, am I doing this because I think it's going to make me feel better about me, or am I doing it just because I like it?
I mean, I think you can get controversy on both sides.
Yeah. I mean, say the tattoos I have, they're COVID tattoos. I've got
The-
everything I got
okay.
this year. They're COVID tattoos. I got them because everybody else in the family decided to get a tattoo.
But I told you specifically
I
you
could
do
have.
not have to get it.
No, I know, but they're COVID tattoos. I did it to do it. I
But
could
do
have
they
lived
have?
without them. I don't have to have them.
But do they mean something to you?
Well, they have their meanings. Each one has its own meaning, but and it's all cosplay stuff.
Not
It's not really
necessarily.
that. Well, maybe
Well,
not that one,
no,
but
not that one either.
this one is Indiana Jones. I don't know if you can see it. This one is the one and only one that I can say may have something to do with me, and I call it the Jedi Pirate. Okay, because it's a Jedi symbol, but it's with a pirate and Bad Batch symbol mixed into it.
Yeah.
And then the latest one I got is this one, and it's my Wolverine tat. And I don't know if you can see, but the Japanese kanji up here is Wolverine. It's the Japanese kanji for Wolverine. And then this little red box down here, it has Arabesh. It's written in Arabesh, not in Chinese or Japanese. And it says Mutant and Proud. Okay, and then I have one more that's going to be coming over here.
Yeah, but that's
And
we
it's a
got
mix of
while for
Star
that one.
Wars pirate. It's a mix of Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, Marvel, all mixed together. And one day it'll be end of the year. I get it. So, and after that, I don't know if I get any more because I really have no other idea. There's another one I'd like to do, but I don't really know how to put it together. And so I may never get another one after that. We'll see.
But the point is, they make you happy. I'm not saying you're trying
Yeah,
to
I'm content.
adjust yourself. They
I'm
just
happy
make you
with them.
happy.
I'm happy with them.
And
If I had them,
it's okay.
I have them. Fine. If I didn't have them, fine.
No, and like for me, I was I was very in doubt. I was doubting myself a lot because I allowed the social standard in the sense of our family to get in the way a
family
bit.
standard, yeah.
The family standard to get in the way a bit because I want a Disney sleeve. So, and I have Mulan right here, and I'm gonna get Jane next week.
Where does Walt go?
I don't know if I'll get Walt.
It's gonna be Disney without Walt.
Um, pretty much I was in doubt because I want a Star Wars one, but I don't want that to be a full sleeve. But it pretty much equals up to almost a sleeve if I think about it.
You have 2 sleeves.
So I would have 2 sleeves, and I kind of started a lot like overthinking and like, oh, what should I do that? You know, is that okay? Is that a bad thing? And I realized
Mickey
that was
Mouse and Goofy. I think they said Goofy, but he
they
wrote
said
Gooby.
Gooby.
I know.
They allowed, I don't know, I allowed myself to get in my own head and allow other people's opinions to take over. But then I talked to some people, and they're like, you know, your own beauty standards on you.
That Marwebio, I'm gonna give you this one. That's cute. Walt Disney.
Oh my god.
But you get Walt on your knee, and you can go around saying, "Say, I got Walt Disney."
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna get the 2 sleeves. I guess, and one will be Star Wars and one will be pure Disney. And no, I'm not gonna get Walt Disney.
Don't throw that idea out.
I'm not gonna get that though.
That's a reasonable idea. I like that one.
Well, then you get it.
I don't want a Walt Disney.
Oh,
tattoo.
well then I don't want one either. Someone else can get it. But yeah, that's pretty much get them on your knee. No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
right.
gonna get them on my knee. Thank you for everyone that has been watching and have been watching for the past couple episodes. This will be up on YouTube either tomorrow or the next day. Link is in our bio in our Instagram. If you want to follow our Instagram so you get more updates on our Twitch streams, by all means, go and follow it. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and thank you for watching. And yeah.
Adios.
Bye.